Lisa Martinez pressed her face against the cold metal window of the starship Aurora and stared at the green planet below. Verdania 7 looked beautiful from space, like a perfect emerald floating in the darkness. But Lisa knew better. She had spent months reading about this world, and beautiful was not the right word. Deadly was better. The young woman took a deep breath and tried to calm her racing heart. At 22 years old, she was about to step foot on one of the most dangerous planets in the galaxy. Most people would never even think about visiting. A class for death world, but Lisa was not most people. She was a xenobiologist, someone who studied alien life forms. And this was her chance to prove herself. Behind her, she heard heavy footsteps approaching. Lisa turned around to see Captain Jake Morrison walking toward her. The older man had kind eyes, but a serious face. He had been exploring dangerous worlds for over 20 years, and the scars on his hands showed it. "Ready for this, Martinez?" Captain Morrison asked. His voice was gentle, but Lisa could hear the concern in it. "Yes, sir," Lisa replied, trying to sound more confident than she felt. "I've been preparing for months." Captain Morrison nodded slowly. "I know you have. Your research on Verdania 7 is impressive. Reading about something and living it are two very different things." Before Lisa could respond, the ship's communication system crackled to life. Captain Morrison to the main deck. "The raiding team is ready for briefing." Lisa followed the captain through the narrow hallways of the Aurora. The ship was old but well maintained, with scratches and dents that told stories of many dangerous missions. As they walked, Lisa could feel her stomach turning with nervousness. They entered the main deck, where the rest of the team was waiting. Lisa had met them briefly when she first came aboard, but seeing them all together still made her feel small and out of place. The team leader was Krathvex, a 7-foot-tall reptilian creature from the Saurian homeworld. Green and covered with old battle scars. His yellow eyes were cold and calculating, like a snake watching its prey. He had been leading raiding parties for over 150 years, and his reputation for surviving impossible situations was legendary. Next to him stood Zephyrine, an insectoid being from the Chitani colonies. She looked like a giant praying mantis that had learned to walk upright. Her 4 arms moved constantly, and she communicated through a mixture of clicks and chemical scents that the ship's computer translated into speech.
Oh.
Her compound eyes seemed to look in all directions at once. The largest member of the team was Thorak, a crystalline warrior from the Geodan system. He was nearly 8 feet tall, and his body was made of living rock and crystal. When he moved, tiny pieces of mineral dust fell from his joints like glitter. His voice sounded like an avalanche when he spoke. The only other human on the team was Dr. Amy Roberts, the team medic. She was 38 years old with short brown hair and tired eyes. Lisa knew that Dr. Roberts had volunteered to be her mentor on this mission. But the older woman had been quiet and distant since they left Earth. Captain Morrison cleared his throat to get everyone's attention. "As you all know, we'll be landing on Verdania 7 in 6 hours. Our mission is to extract rare crystals from the planet's core regions, while Dr. Martinez here collects biological specimens for the Xenobiology Institute." Krathvex made a sound that the translator interpreted as laughter, but it sounded more like a hiss. "Captain, with respect, why are we bringing soft-skinned prey to a predator world?" Lisa felt her cheeks burn with embarrassment. She opened her mouth to defend herself, but Captain Morrison held up his hand. "Dr. Martinez is here because the Institute wants detailed studies of Verdania 7's ecosystem. She's qualified for this mission." Qualified on paper, Zephyrine clicked, her sense speech translating to obvious disdain. But has she ever faced a real predator? Has she ever run for her life while something with claws and teeth chases her through alien jungle? Thorak's crystal body rumbled with what might have been agreement. Humans are weak. Soft flesh, dull senses, no natural weapons. Why do they insist on exploring worlds that will kill them? Lisa finally found her voice. "I may not have your physical advantages, but I've studied Verdania 7 more than anyone else on this ship. I know every documented species, every environmental hazard, every you-know words on a screen," Krathvex interrupted. "I have survived 43 Death World raids." Zephyr9 has completed 37. Thorak has walked through the firestorms of Hellion Prime and lived. What have you done except read books? The silence that followed was heavy and uncomfortable. Lisa looked around the room and saw doubt in every face. Even Dr. Roberts looked away when their eyes met. She realized that everyone on this ship, including her fellow human, thought she was going to die on Verdania-7. Captain Morrison tried to change the subject. Let's go over the mission parameters. We'll be landing near the Crimson Falls region, where sensor readings show the highest concentration of rare crystals. The extraction should take 3 days if everything goes smoothly. Nothing ever goes smoothly on a death world. Zephyr9 clicked. Her scent markers translated to something like grim amusement. Which is exactly why we don't need dead weight slowing us down, Krathvex added, his yellow eyes fixed on Lisa. Long do you think she lasts, Captain? I give her 2 hours before something eats her. I think you're being generous, Thorak. Rumbled. Humans panic when they're scared. They make noise, they run in wrong directions, they freeze when they should fight. She'll probably get us all killed. Lisa felt anger building in her chest, hot and fierce. These aliens thought they knew everything about humans, but they were wrong.
Ow.
She had not spent 4 years studying xenobiology and 2 years preparing for this mission just to be dismissed as prey. You don't know anything about humans, Lisa said, her voice steady despite her racing heart. Do you think we're weak because we don't have claws or fangs or crystal skin? But humans have survived on Earth for thousands of years, and Earth has plenty of predators. Krathvex's laugh hiss was louder this time. Earth predators are nothing compared to what lives on Verdania-7. Your world's animals are pets compared. 2 real Death World creatures. Besides, Zephyr9 added, humans only survived on Earth because they learned to hide from predators, not face them. You're prey animals that got lucky. Dr. Roberts finally spoke up. That's enough. Lisa is part of this team, and we all need to work together. But even as she defended her, Lisa could hear the uncertainty in Dr. Roberts' voice. The older woman didn't really believe Lisa belonged here either. As the meeting broke up, Lisa heard the aliens talking quietly among themselves in their own languages. She didn't need the translator to understand what they were discussing, or making bets on how quickly she would die. Later, alone in her small cabin, Lisa stared at her reflection in the metal mirror. She looked young and scared, exactly like the prey animal the aliens thought she was. But deep inside, she felt something else stirring. It was not fear exactly, though fear was certainly there. It was something older, something that had been sleeping in her human DNA since her ancestors first walked the African savanna alongside lions and leopards. Tomorrow she would set foot on Verdania-7. She would show these aliens that humans were more than they appeared to be. She might not have claws or crystal skin, but she had something they didn't understand. She had the instincts of a species that had learned to survive by understanding predators, not just hiding from them. Lisa Martinez closed her eyes and tried to sleep, but her dreams were filled with yellow eyes and the sound of something large moving through dark jungle. Tomorrow would be the test of her life, and she intended to pass it. The shuttle dropped through Verdania-7's thick atmosphere like a metal stone. Lisa gripped her safety harness as the small craft shook and bounced through layers of alien clouds. Through the window, she could see flashes of green jungle stretching endlessly in all directions. Landing in 30 seconds, the pilot announced over the communication system. Remember, this is a Class 4 death world. Do not leave the landing zone without full protective gear. Lisa checked her equipment one more time. She wore a lightweight environmental suit that would protect her from acid rain and poisonous plants. Her scanner was charged and ready, and her sample containers were empty, but clean. Everything looked perfect. But her hands were still shaking. The shuttle touched down with a heavy thud in a small clearing surrounded by massive trees. Each tree was easily 200 feet tall, with thick trunks covered in strange bark that seemed to move and shift in the light. Vines hung down like curtains, and Lisa could see bright flowers blooming high in the canopy. "Welcome to hell," Krathvex said as he stood up from his seat. His yellow eyes gleamed with excitement. "Try not to die in the first 5 minutes, human." The team gathered their equipment and prepared to leave the shuttle. Lisa watched as each alien checked their weapons and gear with practiced efficiency. Krathvex carried a plasma rifle that could burn through solid rock. Zephrine had razor-sharp blades attached to each of her forearms. The rock needed no weapons, because his crystal body was weapon enough. The shuttle door opened with a hiss. The sounds of Verdania 7 rushed in. Lisa heard birds calling in the distance, but they did not sound like Earth birds. Their cries were deeper, more threatening. She also heard something that might have been wind through the trees, but it carried an odd musical quality that made her skin crawl. "Stay close and try to keep up," Dr. Roberts said quietly to Lisa. "And whatever you do, don't touch anything without scanning it first." Lisa nodded and followed the team out of the shuttle. The moment her boots touched the alien soil, she felt like she had stepped into another world. The air was thick and humid, filled with strange scents that her scanner immediately began analyzing. Some smells were sweet like flowers, others were sharp and chemical. A few made her nose burn slightly despite her suit's air filters. The jungle around them was beautiful but wrong. The trees were too tall, their leaves were too bright, and everything seemed to move just a little too much. Lisa realized that what she had thought was wind was actually the plants themselves swaying and reaching toward the team. "The trees are active," she said, raising her scanner. "They're responding to our presence." "Of course they are," Zephrine clicked. "Half the plants on this world eat meat. Keep moving." The team began walking deeper into the jungle, following a path that Krathvex chose based on his experience with similar worlds. Lisa tried to stay in the middle of the group, but she kept stopping to examine interesting specimens. Her scanner beeped constantly as it detected new life forms. "Look at this flower," Lisa said, pointing to a beautiful blue blossom growing on a nearby vine. "It's producing some kind of chemical signal that don't point at it," the rock rumbled. "Don't even look at it directly." But Lisa's movement had already triggered something. The blue flower suddenly opened wider, revealing rows of needle-sharp thorns, shot forward like a striking snake, aiming directly for Lisa's face. She stumbled backward with a cry of surprise. Krathvex's plasma rifle fired once, turning the attacking plant into smoking ash. The Saurian leader turned to glare at Lisa with his cold yellow eyes. "Congratulations, human. You almost died from a flower. We haven't been on this planet for 10 minutes. Lisa's face burned with embarrassment. "I'm sorry." "I didn't realize that's the problem," Krathvex interrupted. "You don't realize anything. This isn't a laboratory. Everything here wants to kill you." The team continued walking, but Lisa could feel their annoyance like a weight on her shoulders. She tried to be more careful, but the jungle was full of wonders that her scientific mind couldn't ignore. When she saw a cluster of crystal formations that seemed to pulse with their own light, she took a step closer to investigate. The ground beneath her foot cracked and gave way. Lisa found herself falling into a hidden pit filled with sharp spikes. She screamed as she dropped, but strong hands grabbed her arms and pulled her back to safety. Dr. Roberts had caught her just in time. "Pit trap," Dr. Roberts said, breathing hard. "The local predators dig them to catch prey." Lisa looked down into the hole she had almost fallen into. The spikes at the bottom were not metal or wood, but bone. Animal bones that had been sharpened. 2 deadly points. Her scanner detected traces of venom on the bone tips. 2 mistakes in 15 minutes, Zephrine clicked. Her sent speech translated to disgust. "At this rate, she'll be dead before noon." "Maybe we should send her back to the shuttle," Thorax suggested. "She's going to get us all killed." "No," Lisa said quickly. "I can do this. I just need to be more careful." Krathvex made his hissing laugh sound. "Careful doesn't keep you alive. On a death world, human instinct does. And you have the wrong instincts." They set up their base camp near a small stream where the water ran clear and clean. The area seemed relatively safe, with good sight lines and only one direction that predators could approach from. Lisa helped set up the equipment, but she could tell the others were watching her closely, waiting for her to make another mistake. As the alien sun began to set, the jungle sounds changed. The daytime calls of birds and insects were replaced by deeper, more threatening noises. Something roared in the distance, a sound so loud and fierce that it made Lisa's bones vibrate. "Night shift," Krathvex said, checking his weapon. "Is when the real predators come out to hunt." Lisa set up her specimen collection area away from the main camp. She had brought special containers for samples, and her scanner was recording everything it detected. Despite her mistakes, she was gathering valuable scientific data that would help future expeditions. But as she worked, she began to notice things that her companions had missed. Her scanner detected scratch marks on nearby trees that were too high and too deep for any known Verdania 7 species. The pattern was wrong too, like something had been testing the strength of the wood. "There's something moving in the canopy," Lisa said, pointing upward with her scanner. "Something big. I don't see anything," Zephyrinine replied, her compound eyes scanning the trees above. "My vision is much better than yours, human." "But look at the pattern," Lisa insisted. "These scratches are fresh, and they're in a spiral around our camp. Something has been watching us." Krathvex examined the marks Lisa had found. His expression changed from dismissive to concerned. "These are territorial markers," he said slowly, "but they don't match anything in our database." "Whatever made them is intelligent," Lisa continued. "It's not just marking territory randomly. It's marking the best observation points, the places where it could watch us without being seen." Team gathered around to examine Lisa's findings. For the first time since landing, the aliens were taking her seriously. Her scanner had detected something that their superior senses had missed. "If she's right," Dr. Roberts said quietly, "then we're not just in some animal's territory. We're being studied." That night, Lisa volunteered to take the first watch shift. She sat at the edge of camp with her scanner running continuous sweeps of the surrounding jungle. The device picked up hundreds of life signs, from tiny insects to medium-sized creatures moving through the underbrush. But there was one signal that troubled her. It appeared at the edge of her scanner's range, stayed there for several minutes, then disappeared. When it reappeared, it was in a different location. It's always just outside the device's maximum detection distance. Something was circling their camp, staying just far enough away to avoid detection. Something that understood how human technology worked and knew exactly how to stay hidden from it. Lisa made detailed notes of each sighting, tracking the mysterious creature's movement pattern. Whatever was out there, it was patient, intelligent, and very interested in the team. She had a feeling that tomorrow would bring them face to face with Verdania 7's most dangerous predator. As the alien stars wheeled overhead, Lisa Martinez sat in the darkness and wondered if she would live long enough to see Earth again. But for the first time since landing, she didn't feel like helpless prey. She felt like a scientist on the verge of an incredible discovery. Lisa woke up to the sound of Krathvex cursing in his native language. The translator couldn't keep up with the rapid stream of angry words, but she understood the tone perfectly. Something was very wrong. She crawled out of her sleeping bag and looked around the camp. The first thing she noticed was that 3 of their perimeter sensors were missing. Not broken or damaged, but completely gone. Only small holes in the ground showed where they had been planted the night before. "What happened?" Dr. Roberts asked, joining Lisa at the edge of camp. "Something took our sensors," Zephyrinine clicked, her forearms moving in agitated patterns. "But my scent analysis shows no trace of any creature approaching our camp during the night." Thorok held up one of the remaining sensors. The metal device was twisted into an impossible shape, as if something incredibly strong had squeezed it, like soft clay. But there were no claw marks, no bite marks, no sign of how it had been destroyed. This was done carefully, the Crystal Warrior rumbled. Not by an animal acting on instinct. This was planned. Lisa examined the twisted sensor. With her scanner, the metal showed stress patterns that suggested the device had been studied before it was destroyed. Whatever had done this had spent time figuring out how the sensor worked before disabling it. "It's learning about our technology," Lisa said. "First it watched us from a distance. Now it's examining our equipment." KRATH-Vex's yellow eyes were cold with worry. "In 43 Death World raids, I have never seen anything like this. Most predators attack quickly or avoid us completely. They don't study us like we're science experiments." The team packed up their camp and moved deeper into the jungle, heading toward the area where their scanners had detected the highest concentration of valuable crystals. But as they walked, Lisa noticed that the jungle around them felt different. It was too quiet. The normal sounds of birds and insects had stopped, "We're still being watched," she said, checking her scanner. "I'm picking up movement in the canopy, but it stays just outside detection range." "I don't see anything," Zephyrine replied, her compound eyes scanning the trees above. "And I can see things much smaller than your human eyes can detect." "Just it," Lisa said. "Whatever is following us knows exactly how far away to stay. It understands the range of our sensors and your vision. It's been studying us long enough to know our capabilities." They reached the crystal formation by midday. The site was beautiful, with natural crystals growing in perfect geometric patterns from the jungle floor. The crystals glowed with their own inner light, casting rainbow colors on the surrounding trees, but Lisa felt uneasy as they set up their equipment. Her scanner kept detecting brief signals at the edge of its range, always moving, always watching. She tried to tell the others, but they were focused on their extraction work. "Stop jumping at shadows," Krathvek said, as he began cutting crystals with his plasma torch. "If there was a real threat, we would know about it," Lisa wanted to argue. But she didn't have proof, just a feeling that something was very wrong. She focused on collecting plant and soil samples, trying to ignore the prickling sensation on the back of her neck that told her she was being watched. The attack came during lunch break. Thorak was sitting against a large tree, his crystal body. Recharging in the filtered sunlight, Dr. Roberts was checking their medical supplies. Lisa was examining a strange fungus that grew on the crystal formations. The massive warrior simply disappeared. One moment Thorak was sitting peacefully by the tree, the next moment he was gone. There was no sound, no struggle, no sign of what had happened. 8 feet of living crystal had vanished like smoke. "Where's Thorak?" Dr. Roberts asked, looking around the camp. They found him 50 yards away, unconscious and badly injured. The crystal warrior's nearly indestructible body showed precise puncture wounds, as if something had tested different ways to hurt him. The wounds were not meant to kill, but to learn, to discover his weaknesses. "These marks," Zephyrine clicked, her sent speech translating to fear. "They're surgical." Whatever did this was experimenting on him. Lisa's scanner analyzed the wound patterns. The data made her blood run cold. It was testing different pressure points, different angles of attack. It was learning how to fight him. Dr. Roberts worked to treat Thorak's injuries while the rest of the team searched the area. They found tracks in the soft earth, but they made no sense. The prints were huge, clearly from something bipedal, but they seemed to change size and shape. Sometimes they looked like massive clawed feet. Other times, like something more human-like. "Adaptive camouflage," Lisa said, studying the confusing tracks. It can change its body shape and size. That's why we can't get a clear reading. On it, Krath Vex was no longer dismissive of Lisa's warnings. His military experience told him they were dealing with something far more dangerous than a simple predator. "How long has it been watching us?" "Since we landed," Lisa replied. "Maybe longer. It might have been tracking our shuttle from orbit." They tried to continue their work, but the attack on Thorak had shattered their confidence. The Crystal Warrior was their strongest fighter, and something had taken him down without effort. If Thorak wasn't safe, none of them were. Strange things began happening throughout the afternoon. Equipment moved from where they had left it. The trail markers were rearranged into different patterns. Food supplies disappeared and reappeared in impossible locations. "It's playing with us," Dr. Roberts said, her voice tight with stress, like a cat playing with mice. Lisa's scanner picked up more details about their stalker's behavior. The creature was incredibly intelligent, possibly more intelligent than any of them. It was studying their reactions, learning their fears, testing their responses to different types of pressure. "It's not just hunting us," Lisa realized. "It's conducting psychological warfare." As evening approached, the team huddled closer together. They set up a defensive perimeter and took turns standing watch. But Lisa knew their normal tactics wouldn't work against something this smart. She spent the night analyzing all the data her scanner had collected. Slowly, a picture began to emerge. Stalker was not just any predator. It was something that had been hunting intelligent prey for a very long time. The way it moved, the way it studied them, the way it tested their defenses, everything. suggested a creature that specialized in killing sentient beings. We're not its first victims, Lisa told the others, as dawn broke over the jungle. This thing has been hunting intelligent species for years, maybe decades. It knows how we think, how we react, how we fight. Zephyrine's pheromone release translated to pure terror. You're saying it's a serial killer? Worse than that, Lisa replied, looking at her scanner data. It's a scientist. Studies its prey before it kills them. It learns everything about them. And right now, we're its latest research project. The realization hit the team like a physical blow. They weren't just being hunted by a dangerous animal. They were being studied by something that understood them better than they understood themselves. Krathvex checked his plasma rifle and looked around the jungle with new eyes. Then we need to leave now, before it finishes its research.
What?
When they tried to contact their shuttle, they discovered the communication equipment had been sabotaged. Not destroyed, but carefully altered so that it would appear to work while actually sending their signals nowhere. They were stranded on Verdania 7th, with something that had been perfecting the art of killing intelligent beings for decades. And Lisa was beginning to understand that their stalker had been waiting for them specifically. It had been waiting for humans. The hunt was about to begin in earnest. The shuttle was dead. Lisa stared at the twisted metal remains of what had been their only way off Verdania 7. The hull was covered in deep scratches that formed complex patterns, like some kind of alien writing. Her scanner analyzed the marks and found they were territorial symbols, but unlike any in the galactic database. It's claiming us, Dr. Roberts said quietly. Yet those marks mean we belong to it now. Krathvex examined the damage with his military eye. The creature had not simply destroyed the shuttle. It had surgically disabled every critical system while leaving the hull mostly intact. The work showed incredible knowledge of spacecraft design and a patience that was deeply unsettling. How does it know so much about our technology? Zephyrinine clicked, her forearms trembling with fear. Lisa's scanner beeped with new data, because it's been studying crashed ships for decades. Look at these metal fragments embedded in the hull scratches. They're from at least 6 different spacecraft designs. Saurian, Chitani, Geodon, and others. The terrible truth hit them all at once. This creature had been hunting and killing space travelers for years. Every species in the galaxy, every type of technology, every kind of weapon it had encountered. Them all, and learned how to defeat them. We need to reach the emergency beacon, Thorak rumbled, his crystal body still showing damage from his earlier encounter. It's 3 kilometers north, near the waterfall. That's exactly where it wants us to go, Lisa said, studying her scanner readings. Look at the territorial markings. They form a path leading directly to the waterfall. It's hurting us. They had no choice. Without the beacon, they would never be rescued. The team gathered their remaining supplies and began the dangerous journey through the jungle. Every step felt like walking into a trap. Lisa's behavior began to change as they moved deeper into the predator's territory. Her pupils grew larger, even in bright light. Her head turned constantly, tracking sounds and movements that the others couldn't detect. She walked differently, too, placing her feet carefully and avoiding branches that might make noise. What's wrong with her? Zephyrinine asked Dr. Roberts. Nothing's wrong, Dr. Roberts replied, watching Lisa with growing amazement. She's adapting. Her human instincts are waking up. The jungle around them felt different now. The normal sounds of daytime animals had stopped completely. Even the plants seemed to be waiting. Their leaves turned toward the path as if watching the team pass by. The very air felt thick with tension. Lisa stopped suddenly and held up her hand. It's close, she whispered. Very close. I don't sense anything, Krathvex said, but his hand moved to his plasma rifle. That's because it doesn't want you to, Lisa replied. Her voice was steady, but something in her tone had changed. She sounded less like a frightened scientist, and more like something else, something older. They reached the waterfall as the sun began to set. The emergency beacon was exactly where it should be, a small metal tower rising from the rocks near the falling water. But Lisa's scanner detected something that made her blood freeze. The beacon's been modified, she said. It's still transmitting, but the signal is being rerouted. Any rescue ship that comes here will land exactly where the creature wants them to. It's building a collection, Dr. Roberts realized. Ships, crews, technology. It's been gathering everything for years. As if summoned by their discovery, the predator finally revealed itself. It emerged from the jungle like a living shadow, and Lisa's first thought was that no database could have prepared them for this sight. The creature stood 12 feet tall on powerful legs that ended in clawed feet. Its body was covered in skin that shifted colors and patterns, making it almost impossible to focus on. Sometimes it looked like living rock, other times like flowing water, and occasionally like the jungle itself. But it was the eyes that made Lisa's heart stop. They were large and intelligent, filled with a cold curiosity that spoke of decades spent studying, learning, and killing. This was not just a predator. It was a researcher, a collector, a being that killed for the pure joy of understanding how intelligent life worked. The creature's head tilted as it studied them, and Lisa realized it was cataloging their reactions. It had done this many times before. The fear, the weapons, the desperate attempts to fight or flee. It had seen it all. Crafrix raised his plasma rifle, but the creature moved faster than thought. One moment it was 50 feet away, the next it was standing directly in front of the Saurian warrior. Its clawed hand reached out and gently pushed the weapon aside, almost politely. Fascinating, the creature spoke, and its voice was a perfect imitation of Captain Morrison's speech patterns. Humans use projectile weapons, but Saurians prefer energy-based systems. I have been wondering about the psychological differences. The team froze in shock. Not only could the creature speak, but it had learned human language by listening to them. How long had it been studying their communications? You're not just hunting us, Dr. Roberts said. You're conducting research. The creature's eyes fixed on her with approval. Correct. You are Dr. Amy Roberts, age 38, specialization in emergency medicine. You have treated 17 different alien species and survived 4 Death World expeditions. Your psychological profile indicates strong protective instincts toward younger team members. It turned to look at each team member in turn. Krathvex, Saurian military commander, 43 successful raids, known for aggressive tactics under pressure. Zephyrnine, Chitani, tracker, superior sensory capabilities, tendency toward group coordination. Thorak, Geodan warrior, nearly indestructible. Physical form, limited tactical flexibility. Finally, its gaze settled on Lisa. She felt those intelligent eyes studying her like a scientist examining a new specimen. But something strange happened. Instead of the fear she expected to feel, Lisa found herself studying the creature right. Back and you are Lisa Martinez, the creature continued. Age 22, no combat experience, no survival training, classified as non-essential personnel by your own team. Lisa took a step forward, ignoring the gasps of her companions. Are you? The creature's head tilted with what might have been surprise. Am the last of my kind. My species evolved on a world where intelligence was common among many different creatures. We learned to hunt not just for food, but for knowledge, to understand how other minds work. You're lonely, Lisa said, and the simple statement hung in the air like a revelation. For the first time, the creature's perfect composure cracked slightly. My world died 300 years ago. Since then, I have traveled from system to system, studying the intelligent species of the galaxy, learning everything about how they think, how they feel, how they die. Lisa felt something shift inside. Her mind, her human instincts, evolved over millions of years of coexistence with predators, began to recognize something familiar in this alien hunter. It was not just a killer. It was a being driven by isolation and an endless hunger for connection. But you don't have to kill us to study us, Lisa said. Taking another step closer, the creature's adaptive skin rippled with colors that suggested confusion. All previous subjects have attempted to fight or flee, or behaving in an unexpected manner. Because I'm not your prey, Lisa replied. And for the first time since landing on Verdania 7, she felt completely calm. I'm a fellow researcher. The other team members watched in amazement as Lisa approached the galaxy's most dangerous predator, like she was greeting a colleague. Something was happening that none of them understood, something that challenged everything they knew about humans and predators and the nature of intelligence itself. The creature lowered itself to Lisa's eye level, bringing them face to face. "Explain," it said simply. And Lisa Martinez, the human rookie who had been dismissed as prey by everyone around her, began to speak to a monster in a language that transcended species, worlds, and the vast loneliness of space. Lisa stood face to face with the creature that had terrorized her team for days. Up close, she could see that its eyes held not just intelligence, but something else. Pain. The deep, aching pain of someone who had been alone for far too long. "You study other species because you're trying to understand them," Lisa said softly. "But you can't truly understand something by killing it." The creature's skin shifted colors rapidly, showing confusion and something that might have been hope. "Explain this concept. All my research has required termination of subjects for complete analysis." Lisa slowly reached into her pack, moving carefully so the creature wouldn't see her actions as threatening. Her teammates watched in terror, certain she was about to be killed. But Lisa pulled out something unexpected, a small container holding preserved samples from Earth. "On my world, we learned to study predators by living alongside them," Lisa said, opening the container. "We didn't kill them to understand them. We became their partners." The creature's nostrils flared as it caught the scent from Lisa's container. Its entire body went rigid with shock. "This scent signature. It carries genetic markers of apex predators." "But they coexisted with your species for thousands of years," Lisa replied. "Wolves, tigers, bears, we learned to work with them. Instead of just hiding from them, that's how humans survived. It's not by being the strongest, but by understanding predators and earning their respect." She pulled out a small piece of preserved wolf fur. The creature leaned closer, its advanced senses analyzing every molecule. When it spoke again, its voice held wonder. "Impossible. These are the genetic markers of a species evolved specifically for hunting intelligent prey, yet they lived peacefully with your kind." "Not peacefully," Lisa corrected. "We had respect for each other, mutual understanding. The wolves knew we weren't just prey, and we knew they weren't just killers. We were both hunters, just different kinds." The creature straightened to its full height, studying Lisa with new interest. "You're saying that intelligent prey can communicate with intelligent predators as equals?" "I'm saying that intelligent beings don't have to be predator or prey," Lisa replied. "They can be something else entirely." For long moments, the only sound was the waterfall crashing against rocks. The creature's skin continued shifting colors as it processed this completely new concept. Finally, it spoke. "I have killed 137 intelligent beings across 42 different species. I thought I was studying them, but I was only learning how they died, never how they lived." Dr. Roberts found her voice. "You were lonely. You were trying to connect with others the only way you knew how." The creature's massive head turned toward her. "Loneliness. Yes. When my world died, I was the only survivor. I have spent 3 centuries searching for others like me. When I could not find them, I tried to understand other intelligent species instead. But you can't understand life by studying death," Lisa said. "You need to experience it together." Something remarkable began to happen. The creature's aggressive posture started to change. Its claws retracted slightly. Its stance became less threatening. For the first time in centuries, it was considering that there might be another way. "How would such cooperation function?" the creature asked. "What would prevent me from simply killing you when the study was complete?" Lisa took a deep breath. This was the crucial moment, because we would be studying each other. We would learn about humans, and we would learn about your species. Real learning, not just data collection. But I am the last of my kind. "There are no others like me to study?" "You're wrong," Lisa said gently. "You're not the last of anything. You're the first of something new. The first member of a species that chooses cooperation over predation." The creature's skin stopped shifting colors and settled into a pattern that somehow seemed calmer, more peaceful. This concept requires significant analysis. One must consider all implications. Krathvex, who had remained silent during the entire exchange, finally spoke. Human, what are you doing? This creature has killed dozens of sentient beings. And now it's choosing not to kill us, Lisa replied without taking her eyes off the creature. It's not nothing, that's everything. The creature looked at each team member in turn. I've detailed psychological profiles of all of you. Krathvex, your military training tells you I am lying, that this is a trap. Zephyr9, your species memory warns you that predators cannot be trusted. Thorak, your warrior culture demands that threats be eliminated. All three aliens shifted uncomfortably as the creature accurately described their thoughts. Dr. Roberts, the creature continued, your medical training recognizes trauma when you see it. Lisa Martinez, your human instincts understand something that the others do not. What do I understand? Lisa asked. That predators and prey are not enemies. They are part of the same system. Remove one, and the other dies as well. Your species learned this lesson millions of years ago when you chose to domesticate wolves instead of exterminating them. Lisa felt a surge of excitement. The creature was beginning to understand concepts that had taken humanity thousands of years to develop. Exactly, we didn't tame the wolves. We formed a partnership with them. You are proposing a similar partnership with me? I'm proposing that you stop being the last of your kind and start being the first of ours, Lisa said. Join us. Help us explore the galaxy. Learn about other species by working with them, not by killing them. The creature was quiet for a long time. When it finally spoke, its voice was different, softer, more uncertain. I do not know if I can change. I have been a killer for 300 years. But you haven't killed us, Dr. Roberts pointed out. You had dozens of opportunities, but you chose to talk instead. That's already change. Besides, Lisa added with a small smile, humans are good at helping predators learn new tricks. We've had lots of practice. The creature made a sound that might have been laughter. Your species is more complex than my research indicated. I require much more data before I can fully understand you. And come with us, Lisa said. We'll teach you everything we know about cooperation, partnership, and finding family among different species. And in return, you teach us about your world, your people, your incredible abilities. We learn from each other as equals. The creature extended one massive clawed hand toward Lisa. She looked at it for a moment, then reached out and placed her small human hand against its palm. The contrast was striking. Predator and prey, alien and human, killer and scientist. But in that moment, they were something else entirely. I accept this partnership, the creature said formally, but I must ask, what designation should I use? I have not required a name for centuries. Lisa thought for a moment. What did your people call themselves? We were the Velthek. The word means those who understand. Then we'll call you Vale, Lisa said, and you can call me Lisa. As the sun set over Verdania 7, something unprecedented happened in galactic history. A creature that had spent centuries as the perfect killer chose instead to become the perfect partner. The aliens who had dismissed Lisa as weak prey watched in amazement as she accomplished something their advanced military training could never have achieved. 3 days later, the rescue ship Aurora landed to find the entire team alive and well, accompanied by a massive alien creature that had somehow been convinced to join the Galactic Exploration Service. Captain Morrison's final report noted that Dr. Lisa Martinez had been promoted to senior xenobiologist and would be leading all future expeditions to worlds with potentially dangerous intelligent life. The galaxy, it seemed, was about to become a much more interesting place. And somewhere in space, a lonely creature that had once been the ultimate predator was learning what it meant to have friends, family, and a place to belong among the stars.